Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ritesh Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dhanvat Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatamidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminate Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we'll continue with our prayer for this week. Posted the link in the chat. Anybody would like to sing today? Okay, I'll go ahead and sing and then we can read the translation. But I'll encourage you to sing along while you're on mute so that you get the spiritual credit for glorifying the holy names, the holy forms of the Lord, and these wonderful choicest words that have been used and composed by our acharyas. Like we were saying yesterday, our acharyas are the dearmost servants of the Lord. And when we serve them by glorifying their words, then the Lord is even more pleased. So we should all take this opportunity to do this Vandanam, which is a form of devotional service, one of the limbs of devotional service, of praying, offering our glories, offering our prayers to the Lord. We cannot offer it ourselves, so we just copy what our acharyas have already given us. We are just like parrots repeating what they have already given to us. So let's sing with that mood. Jaya Jaya Jagannath Sachirananda Tribhuvana Korijahar Charana Banda Jaya Jaya Jagannath Sachirananda Tribhuvana Korijahar Charana Banda Nilachale Shankachakra Gadapadmadhar Nadiya Nagari Danda Kamandalakar Eho Bole Purabete Ravana Badhila Golokira Vaibhavlila Prakasha Korila Shri Radhar Bhave Ebe Gaura Avatar Hari Krishna Nam Gaura Gorila Prachar Shri Radhar Bhava Ebe Gaura Avatar Hari Krishna Nam Gaura Gorila Prachar Vasudeva घोष बोले गोरी जोड़ हाथ जय गौरा से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ वासुदेव घोष बोले गोरी जोड़ हाथ जय गौरा से कृष्ण से जगन्नाथ जय गौरा Say Krishna, say Jagannath, Jai Gaura, say Krishna, say Jagannath. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. श्री श्री जगन्नाथ सच्चिदानंदन की जय। श्री वासुदेव घोष की जय। Anybody would like to do the save of reading the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Shila Mataji.
All glories to the dear son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. All the three worlds offer prayers unto his lotus feet. In Neelachal, he holds the conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, while in the town of Nadia, he holds a sannyasi staff and water pot. It is said that in olden times, as Lord Ramachandra, he killed the demon Ravana. Then later, as Lord Krishna, he revealed the splendorously opulent pastimes of Goloka. It is he who has come. He has come. Oh, from Raj, he has come to Nadia. Accepting the mood and luster of Sri Radha, he has come from Raj to Nadia. He has come. Now Lord Govinda, the cowherd boy, has come as Lord Gauranga. He has come distributing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Vasudev Ghosh says with folded hands, He who is God is He who is Krishna, is He who is Jagannath. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shila Mataji. Yes, how wonderful this is. Such nice. These devotees, eternal associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have given us treasure, treasure of the holy names, treasure of all the leelas and all the pastimes of the Lord. And yeah, here, as it is mentioned, like as Ramchandra, when he came, he killed Ravana. But how did he do that? He had again all his eternal associates who came in the form of the Vanar Sena. And they all helped the Lord in building the bridge, the ocean across the ocean, Indian Ocean, to go to Lanka. So as Ram Bhagwan, he built the bridge to cross the ocean. Similarly, as Gaurachandra, when he came, he has given us the wonderful treasure of the holy names, which is like a bridge. And with that bridge, we can actually cross over the ocean of material miseries, the ocean of material world of birth and death, and go back home, back to Godhead. So that's amazing. Thank you so much once again for reading. And now with that, we'll continue from our reading of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. So we post the link here. Anybody who would like to continue reading today? Reading from chapter 10. The link should be in the chat. So yesterday we saw it was a momentous day. Srila Prabhupada received his sannyasa diksha from Bhakti Pragnana Keshav Swami Maharaj, one of his sannyasi god brothers, senior god brothers of his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, in Mathura. And after initiation, how Prabhupada was reflecting that it is just the external appearance that has changed, but really, I mean, he was already a renunciant for the last 9 years. He had already left his family, his business, everything. So just by merely changing the dress, it doesn't really mean anything to him. But it was really what was most important for him was like this was probably a stepping stone for him to now fulfill the instructions of his Guru Maharaj to preach, to go to the West and preach in English to the Western countries. So that was very nice. And Srila Prabhupada was finally invited by the Mahant from the Radha Damodar temple to come and reside there. And Prabhupada, when he looked at the rooms, they were in very dilapidated condition. So, but he still didn't want to miss the opportunity to be there because that's where the samadhis of our acharyas, foremost acharyas, the Goswamis, Sri Rupa Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami was there. So he was meditating that this would be very, very auspicious sign for him that he has been asked to stay there. So he wanted to collect some funds because he didn't have funds so that he could just make some repairs and then he could stay there. So with that is where we stopped yesterday. And now we'll continue, so I can continue reading them. It was an important maxim of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's that a preacher should go to the cities and not remain in the seclusion of a holy place. So in that spirit, Bhakti Vedanta Swami continued commuting to Delhi, even though to him it was a hell, and even though he had no fixed residence there. Often he was taken in by the businessmen who who felt obliged on the basis of Indian culture. A good man, if he wanted to be favored by God, should accommodate the sadhus and give them meals and place to stay. But the vision of such pious men was a sentimental Hinduism, and the receptions were artificial. They could not really appreciate Bhaktivedanta Swami's work, and Bhaktivedanta Swami was not of a mind to impose himself upon such hosts. Then he spoke with Mr. Hitsaran Sharma, manager of the Radha Press. In the past, Mr. Sharma had printed flyers and stationery for the League of Devotees, and Bhaktivedanta Swami had stayed in Mr. Sharma's house on occasion. Mr. Sharma introduced Bhaktivedanta Swami to Pandit Sri Krishna Sharma, a caste Brahmana and active religionist, secretary to the century old Delhi Religious Society, Sri Naval Prem Sabha. Out of sympathy for Bhaktivedanta Swami's literary labors, Krishna Pandit gave him a room in his Radha Krishna temple in Chippiwada, neighborhood of Old Delhi. Now Bhaktivedanta Swami would have a permanent office in Delhi. The train from Mathura would arrive at the Old Delhi station near Chandni Chowk, the broad avenue down which poured a river of workday traffic, rickshaws, bicycle riders, sometimes a dozen abreast, autos in lesser numbers, men running on foot, pulling heavy carts, and beasts of burden donkeys, oxen, and occasional camel or elephant carrying heavy loads and being driven by men with whips in their hands. From the intensely busy Chandni Chowk, Bhaktivedanta Swami would take the short walk to Chippiwada, past the Red Fort, keeping the Gauri Shankara temple on his left, then proceeding along a side street past the large, imposing Jama Mosque. Near Chippiwada, the streets would become narrow. Chippiwada had been a Muslim neighborhood until the India Pakistan partition of 1947, when thousands of Punjabi Hindus had settled there. Chippiwada was part of a mixed Hindu Muslim neighborhood, so crowded with people that cars were not allowed to enter the streets. Only ox carts and rickshaws could penetrate the narrow, crowded lanes. And in some areas, the lanes were planted with iron posts to keep rickshaws out. Even a bicycle rider would create havoc amongst the densely packed crowds of shoppers and workers who moved along the streets and lanes. Side streets led to other side streets, lanes so narrow that the second floor balconies on opposite sides of the street were only inches apart, practically forming a roof over the street so that a pedestrian could glimpse only the narrowest patch of sky. Private yards, shops, and alleys became almost indistinguishable from the public thoroughfares. Although most shops bore signs in Hindi with subheadings in English, some wore the curvy scripts of Arabic, and women dressed in black with veiled faces were a common sight. In the heart of this intensity life was the narrow entrance of Krishna Pandit's Radha Krishna temple, with a plaque of the demigod Ganesha and a row of nesting pigeons just above its simple arched door. The temple, with its resident families, retained some of the tenement atmosphere of the neighborhood. Although the temple room was dark, the Radha Krishna deities on the altar were well illuminated. Radharani was the color of cream, and Krishna was black marble and stood about 2 feet tall. He was decorated with dots of fresh sandalwood pulp and a mask of yellow sandalwood on his forehead. Both deities were dressed in silk garments. On the second floor, just above the deity room, was a guest room, Bhaktivedanta Swami's room. Its cement walls and floor were completely bare. Protruding up from the floor was a 3 foot high concrete pyramid with a spire, indicating that the deities were directly beneath. Bhaktivedanta Swami soon found that his room was not secluded but was side by side with other residential rooms. Outside the door, a metal grating smaller than in the Vamshi Gopalji temple and Keshavji Mutt revealed the small temple courtyard below. From the roof, hardly a single tree could be seen. The view was of tenement rooftops so tightly crowded together that it seemed one could walk from roof to roof all the way to the colossal Jama Masjid. The mosque's three large domes, surrounded by taller minarets, rose high above the ordinary buildings, attracting flocks of pigeons, which perched upon the domes or flew in wheeling patterns in the sky. Krishna Pandit, dressed in a black, lightweight cotton coat, the kind made internationally recognizable by Pandit Nehru, and he had the Nehru hat also. He spoke good English and was garrulous. He was well known and respected within the neighborhood. He saw Bhaktivedanta Swami as God sent, a sadhu for him to take care of, and thus prove once again the piety of Hindu culture. He found his new guest likable, a simple, gentle, gracious, and accomplished Vaishnava scholar. Krishna Pandit said he understood the importance of Bhaktivedanta Swami's Sanatan Dharma mission and his need for a Delhi office, and he vowed to supply his guest with whatever he required. Although Bhaktivedanta Swami was reluctant to ask for anything for himself, Krishna Pandit brought in a sitting mat and a low table, placing them before the pyramid, and he also brought a mattress. He showed Bhaktivedanta Swami how to operate the room's single light, a bulb, and metal shade that hung from a cord and could be raised or lowered by hand. He brought a picture of Radha and Krishna that had been given to his guru by the Maharaj of Jaipur and set it within a niche in the wall, relishing that Bhaktivedanta Swami could gaze upon it with the eyes of a true devotee. Bhaktivedanta Swami had wanted a secure place for writing books before going to the West, and Lord Krishna had provided it. Now he could work either in Vrindavan or in Delhi. Almost immediately, he began Back to Godhead again, serializing book excerpts from his previous manuscripts, while at the same time beginning Srimad Bhagavatam. When Krishna Pandit learned of his guest's lone struggles to produce Back to Godhead, he volunteered to help with some of the business aspects of the publication. Bhaktivedanta Swami was indeed gratified by Krishna Pandit's sincere help, and in appreciation he gave him an addition to his name, Hari Bhaktanudas, one who serves the Lord's devotees. After 6 months in Chippiwada, Bhaktivedanta Swami wrote an appreciation in the temple's guest book. I am pleased to write herein that I have come to Delhi from my headquarters, 1/859 Keshi Ghat, Vrindavan, UP, purely on spiritual mission to propagate the cult of devotional service of the Lord. And I am more pleased to mention herewith that Sriman Sri Krishna Sharma Hari Bhaktanudas has provided me a suitable room for my literary activities. I am publishing an English fortnightly magazine of the name Back to Godhead from this place, and the novel Prem Sabha, of which Sri Krishnaji is the honorary secretary, is arranging for my daily lectures on Srimad Bhagavat. Late Pandit Late Pandit Jyoti Prasad Sharma, father of Sri Krishna ji, was also known to me, and during his lifetime, whenever I used to come to Delhi, late Pandit Jyoti Prasad ji, would provide me with residential place. His good son is also following in the footprints of his noble father, and as secretary of the Naval Prem Sabha, he is doing good service in propagating Ram Nam all over the city. In neat, in neat English script, Bhaktivedanta Swami went on to write that, in his opinion, temples should be used solely for educating the public in spiritual values, and that it was his personal mission to organize temples for that service. Temples are not meant for ordinary householders engaged simply in the matters of animal propensities. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Lord's deity, the predominator of the temple, can only be allowed to remain in the temple, otherwise not. Trying to compose Srimad Bhagavatam at Chippiwada, whole while surrounded by sometimes noisy families with their non-devotional domestic habits, had impressed upon him the importance of not using a temple as an apartment house. Despite his plans to settle down and begin the monumental task of translating Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktivedanta Swami was ready to preach in other ways also. In October of 1959, he had encountered a news article in the Times of India. Two American scientists had received the Nobel Prize in Physics for discovering the antiproton. According to one of the fundamental assumptions of the new theory, the article read, there may exist another world or an anti world built up of antimatter. The other world reminded Bhakti Vedanta Swami of the eternal spiritual world described in Bhagavad Gita. He was well aware that the scientists were not speaking of antimaterial in the sense of eternal or spiritual, but he thought of using their scientific terms to capture the interest of scientific minded people. He conceived of an essay presenting the theistic science of Bhagavad Gita in terms of the antimaterial particle and the antimaterial world. It was a time when the whole world was talking of space travel. Indian news media had reported the Russian Sputnik 2 years ago, and the race for space had begun. Seizing on the current interest in space travel, Bhaktivedanta Swami described how, by Bhakti Yoga, the soul can travel past the farthest reaches of space to the eternal planets of the spiritual world, where life is blissful and full of knowledge. He gave his own fresh translations of Bhagavad Gita verses, couched in the language of the new physics, with its antimaterial particle and antimaterial world. The complete, the complete work, Easy Journey to Other Planets, was a 15,000 word manuscript, and he showed it to Hitsaran Sharma of Radha Press. But he didn't have enough money to get the little book printed. In February of 1960, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to print it himself in two installments of Back to Godhead. The articles drew an immediate response from a physicist at the Gujarat University in Ahmedabad, Mr. Y.G. Nayak, who received Back to Godhead through the mail. Dr. Nayak thought Bhaktivedanta Swami's application of the antimaterial principle was really a grand one. This is no doubt a classic essay. Dr. Nayak was interested in further discussion on physics and transcendental knowledge, and Bhaktivedanta Swami replied with equal enthusiasm, finally asking the physicist to join him in distributing the cultural heritage of India to the whole world. Convinced that such an essay had great potential to interest educated English speaking readers, Bhaktivedanta Swami worked hard to raise enough in donations to print Easy Journey to Other Planets as a paperback book. He finally did so in the fall of 1960. A foreword by Dr. N.K. Siddhanta, Vice Chancellor of the University of Delhi, arrived late but was included in the book as an insert. While everyone may gain from it, the student community in particular is recommended to read the book with care and practice Bhakti Yoga, which will help to strengthen the mind and build up character. I shall be glad to see this work read by the students and the teachers alike. Several Indian scientists and scholars contributed reviews, noting the book's scientific cum spiritual vision and the method of speeding over space not by mechanical acceleration of speed, but through psychological effort and spiritual emancipation. It was only 38 pages, but it was his first publication aside from the one page folded newspaper, Back to Godhead. He tried to distribute the little book effectively. He gave one copy to Dr. P. Banerjee of the National Museum of New Delhi. Dr. Banerjee. He used to come up to the library and consult some books, and I met him there. He gave me a book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. He gave me some copies to distribute for a rupee or a half a rupee each. I felt attracted to him. I thought he was a saintly person with pure devotion and without any outward glamour. He was not out to attract people just for name and fame. He had little support from anybody. He was living alone in a small room in Chippewada. He was devoted to his studies. So I asked him, Sir, if you have time and if you don't mind coming to my house, could you kindly come on Sundays and recite the Bhagavad in my house? He readily agreed. He was a good scholar. He was learned in the scriptures and he was fond of communicating his ideas to others. He was a good speaker and a good conversationalist. He was very polite. Whatever he said, very he said very distinctly. He spoke in Bengali and explained the essence of the verses. Sometimes he also referred to the commentaries just to give me more information. The others were not very much interested in the commentary or in difficult aspects, but because he knew that I had some studies in the field, he explained the commentaries for my sake and for the sake of one or two other gentlemen who were also very elderly and very scholarly. The gatherings at my home would be attended by about 20 or 30 people, and he would continue his explanation for 1 or 2 hours. Then he would recite the Hare Krishna mantra, and we would also take part with the kartals and the harmonium. So it was a very enjoyable gathering because he made the difficult things very easy and he explained everything to all of us according to our needs. He knew that this much is for this person, this much is intended for this man, this much for the others. After the meetings, he used to take a little rest in my house. I requested him to take meals in my house, but he said he did not take meals prepared by others. But when he met my wife and she said she would be happy to prepare the meals, he said, "All right, I will take." And she used to prepare meals on Sundays when he would come. He sometimes asked me how to get more and more people attracted towards this field, but as a government worker, I could not persuade anyone very openly, nor had I the time to organize anything on a big scale for him. But he was not satisfied with that. He asked me if I could organize on a bigger scale. He knew that the people who attended the meetings at my house were very old, 70, 80. One was 90 years of age, retired, educated persons. It lasted for no less than a year. After that, he said he would be trying to go out to other places. He asked me to continue the gatherings, but I said, I am not initiated. He said I could continue anyway because I was born as a Brahmana. He gave me the authority to continue for some time, but I could not continue because I used to go out. I lost all interest after he left. I was a government servant. Okay, let's stop here. Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody has any thoughts on today's reading?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
I was reflecting on the fact that Prabhupada used to tell, as the author said, the quota of how much they wanted and not, so he distinctly identified who wanted how much. Like we read in our scriptures, right? Kanishta Madhya and Uttamadhikari. Not even that. This is not about that, but I was reading, I forgot the source, but I was reading about this that uh, the bhakti is based, sometimes it is about the qualification you have. So somebody who is qualified for Karma Yoga will get the Karma Yoga books, the Bhakti Yoga will get Bhakti Yoga, the Gyan Yoga will get the Gyan Yoga. So here Prabhupada is giving Bhakti Yoga, but again, he is distinctly identifying the categories and giving, how much ever is needed on a personal basis and not just pouring out. He was an ocean, but he was giving, very distinctly identifying and giving how much was required individually. So um, I was just reflecting on that fact that Prabhupada was amazing. He started a little mission, and he was doing it so nicely. Again. So that was my reflections.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, and that theme we see with all pure devotees of the Lord, they know like they will come down to our level to talk to us, even our Guru Maharajas and Guru Devs. Prabhupada, especially when he was even in the West, he could identify, and he will like even the services that he gave to all his disciples, according to their interest, according to what they were capable of. And talking to Srila Prabhupada's disciples when you go to New Vrindavan, they so fondly reflect, the services that Srila Prabhupada gave them, and how he could, because he was a transcendental speaker, he could see past, present, future just by looking into the eyes. That's what some of the disciples tell us. Like they would just look into their eyes, and it would be almost as if he could see where they have come from. But yeah, that again, that potency comes from the blessings of the acharyas and from the blessings of the Lord. So yeah, that's very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Any other reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your and Meenakshi Moini's reflections. Wonderful. I also was thinking on the same grounds and how Srila Prabhupada was such an amazing, scholar. He took the current topics and then used them in Krishna's service. So even when he had, I'm just amazed that he had no money, but somehow he was able to keep current with ongoing affairs and then use them to write scholarly articles. Then not only just being scholarly, he was an opportunist. He would see where his articles would be most received and take personal effort to send them. Like he sent them to the person who was in the museum, I forget his name, and the vice chancellor. And so just his as a visionary, we see so many qualities that we later see in like 100% when Krishna gave him all the resources from the very beginning. So such a rare combination of a scholar and a pure devotee. Previously in Gaudiya Maths, we had, they mentioned about his god brothers who were devotees, but not necessarily possessed all the qualities that Srila Prabhupada had. So that is really amazing. And then he walked the talk. So, how we start, we in ISKCON promote Bhakti Vrikshas. And this was his first Bhakti Vriksha. Going in someone's house, preaching Bhagavad Gita, not eating outside, but then agreed because the wife agreed to make separately for him. So all these things come about, like where were the origins? So Srila Prabhupada really just imbibed everything and taught us what he did. Didn't teach us something that he didn't do. So that was my reflection, and just so thankful that we are in this, we are in Srila Prabhupada's society. So thankful for that. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful reflection. Yeah, like we were saying, this is almost like, this is the mercy of the Acharyas that we are here, we are able to follow along. This is truly like following in the footsteps, right? So we are really seeing how Srila Prabhupada, like you said, walked the talk. So these are his footprints through time. And by reading these, we are really like following in his footprints, the footsteps right behind him, So it is so nice to just relive these memories. And yeah, like you said about Bhakti Riksha and how he used to go and not eat there. Some time back, I forget, this probably a few months ago, I was hearing from some devotee about another devotee in India and in a small village, how he goes and he does something similar, like he will give talk on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, a devotee of ISKCON, but it's a small village, town somewhere, and he would go, it will be like, he'll have to ride on his bicycle, sometimes he would just have to walk 20-30 minutes, but he would go every day or every few days in the week, and he would do that, and then he would not eat anything because the people where he was going and giving the talk, they would be eating all kinds of things, right? Like eggs also and other things. So he would not eat, but he would go, and then slowly by doing that for a few months, a year or so, and finally he was not eating, and the devotees who were there, they were really unhappy that he's not eating anything cooked by them, and seeing his sincerity and determination and his selfless service for them, slowly they transformed, and they said, no, we should not eat, because if we eat this, he's not going to eat anything at our place. And they left everything, and they became pure vegetarian. They started offering prasad, bhoga to the Lord, and eating only prasad. And after seeing that transformation, he was so pleased, and then he started taking prasad. So I was just reminded of that story. Some devotee told me this last year. And I was just reminded of that, about how Srila Prabhupada here was doing the same thing. So by his purity, he was converting people, or encouraging people to take up this pure movement. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. Any other thoughts, reflections?
Yeah, it was interesting, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so when there was a space travel race was started at that point of time, Srila Prabhupada said like soul can travel beyond that. That is interesting. Like we are, till now the scientists try to go to space and they're thinking they're beyond our, imagination, but our soul can travel more than, faster than light to the Golok Vrindavan. So through bhakti um, path. So that is a good thing that we learned. We knew it, but at that time he already reflected this to the world.
Yes. And we know, like, more than our senses. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that. Like, more than senses, we know our mind is so powerful, right? Mind. If
Yes.
we have to go from here to India. What all things we have to do? We have to purchase tickets. We have to have a OCI, and then we have to travel for 25-36 hours, and but the mind, there is no need of any tickets, there is no need of any visa, no stamping needed, right? At this moment, if I think of India, I'm there. So that is the power of mind. Then think of the power of the soul, right, which is even more powerful, the purest. Right? So yeah, the mind can travel anywhere at the fraction of a second. It's faster than the speed of light. Then what to think of the soul? Yeah.
But since we are materially attached, we always think that that is the truth.
Okay, thank you so much for those reflections. If nothing else, then we'll stop here for today. We'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय। पतित पावन जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे
Hari
कृष्णा।
Krishna.